4.2 billion. That's the number of global social media users in 2021, according to Hootsuite. To put that in perspective, that's more than half the current world population. And by 2023, this year, that number will most definitely have increased. Screen technology is a revolutionary achievement. When you think of work, one of the first things you think of is a computer. Through the help of computers and screens, we open up so many different job positions, plan our lives, write, share useful information, and learn skills. However, as you can see, it seems like screens are primarily used for online entertainment. I'm betting you use screens more for entertainment and less for productivity. That is a problem, as spending way more time than necessary consuming online entertainment can degrade both our mental and physical health. In this video, I will make a case for why you should consider reducing your screen time to optimize your health, and I will provide 6 practical ways that you can do it. Social media might appear innocent, but I think we can all attest that it has a significant impact on our lives. Before we get into the main negative psychological aspects of a lot of screen time, we first have to cover the less talked about ones, the physical aspects. Screen usage comes from sitting in front of the TV or computer, or slouching to look at your phone. When we're using screens, we're pretty much not moving, and long periods of this can actually affect our posture, make us more fatigued, and can lead to increased risk of cardiovascular disease and obesity. Prolonged screen usage also causes eye strain and sleep problems, and check out my glasses. However, this is nothing when you start looking at the detrimental psychological effects of screens. Social media is by far the main entertainment form used with screens. Although that is funny, as social media was created as a tool that lets you quickly communicate with others from pretty much any part of the world. The original idea for social media is pure and sped up our evolution by who knows how many times. Nowadays, social media is for consuming trashy videos and memes, TikTok content, and just comparing ourselves with the artificial lives of others. We're always trying to appear actually better than our life actually is. All of this, when used in excess, has been proven time and time again to create stress, anxiety, and depression. I think we can all attest to the polarization that the world is currently under and just how heavily social media has actually affected that. In fact, the average person uses social media for 2.5 hours a day. That might not look so bad at first, but over the average human life, that ends up being almost 1 year of your whole life gone. Of course, that's without including other things that you do on your screens like video games and streaming services, watching Netflix, etc. So when we're not scrolling social media, we're often playing video games or watching Netflix, and these things, again done in excess, also have a big impact on our psychology. We already know many reasons why video games are addicting and why they can degrade your mental health, but one of the main reasons is that they give you a feeling of being in control. When you are fully focused on the game, you blend yourself with the character on screen, and that puts you in a flow state. And it can seem like you only spend 5 minutes playing a game, but it was actually hours of screen time. Then you take streaming services, on the other hand, and they might not put you in control like video games do, but they do engage us through immersive storytelling and easy access, putting ourselves in the character's shoes and forgetting that real life exists. You probably know that when you're watching some of the best TV shows like Breaking Bad, Narcos, Game of Thrones, Better Call Saul, The Walking Dead, and others, you probably tend to binge them one episode after another.
You're goddamn right.
I know a lot of people in this community watch a lot of anime, and certainly watching 1,000 episodes of some of those series can be a huge binge as well. More than half the current world population engages in entertainment through screens, and that's actively damaging your health. So if you are watching this video and you subscribe to this channel, hopefully you're here to improve your lives and not end up sacrificing your mental and physical health for screens. All right, so here are 6 ways for how to limit your screen time. Let's start with social media. In a 2019 scientific report called the Strategies for Self-Controlling Social Media Use, it was found that mindfulness in terms of self-control could be one of the best ways to reduce screen time on social media. More specifically, proactive self-control, becoming conscious of tempting situations to use social media instead of reactive situations where you end up having to intervene later. A lot of social media and online entertainment through screens is based on mindless consumption, so becoming aware of your usage can decrease screen time dramatically. I think TikTok is a really clear example of this, where the big, innovation that they had was just being able to flip one video to the next, to the next, to the next, almost like Tinder, but for videos. And that really puts you not only into a flow state, but it very much gets you focused on just consuming content mindlessly and forgetting about how much time you've actually been spending there, because there's no way you can even keep track of how many videos you've been watching when you're just flipping through one after another. So becoming more aware of your usage and how much time you're actually spending on it is really good to just bring more mindfulness to your usage. Next, use screen time more for productivity and less for entertainment. Now, this sounds really obvious, but I think it's really important that we start to build a relationship with our phones and our devices as tools to help us be productive instead of tools to help us deal with boredom. Spending time in front of screens to learn and build skills can contribute a lot to your overall improvement instead of playing video games as an example. You'll find that spending time on your computer or phone for improvement purposes instead of consumption will overall decrease the amount of time you spend on your screens because you don't have as much use for your phone to be as productive all the time. So practically getting rid of apps that are just based for entertainment off your phone and not using your phone for entertainment, but keeping it to be something for work or for just practical things like using maps, the camera, or for music can help. Third, you want to identify the biggest reasons why you are spending an excessive amount of time on screens. This goes hand in hand with mindfulness. For instance, one day I realized that my screen time had gone from 3 hours average a day to 5 hours. And when I looked at my usage, I found that I was on Discord for an hour and a half extra a day. And that's what was really driving that extra usage. And so for me, I just started to look at like, what was it that was driving me to go on Discord and where was I spending my time on Discord and was it really worth it? And of course, that answer was no. And so I got rid of Discord off my phone and I only kind of check in on Discord a couple times, maybe in the morning and once at night, just to make sure I'm on top of what's going on there. By the way, if you're not on the Game Quitters Discord, you can join us and the link is in the description. But obviously, if you're going to be on that Discord, use it mindfully. Now, for some people, it's not spending time on social media that's an issue. It's watching movies, watching TV shows, or playing video games. You need to find out what screen time activities you engage in the most and figure out the reasons why you are engaging in them. Ultimately, what are the reasons that they're fulfilling for you? And then it's possible to take those reasons and actually find alternative ways to deal with that. For instance, if you like to relax just scrolling on Twitter, maybe picking up a book that's physical in your hands instead would be a better option. I'm certain it would make you less toxic, lead to less anxiety, and just make you feel less negative overall about the world, which unfortunately, things like Twitter are really good at making you feel like the world is just going to hell when the reality is probably not so accurate. Just be careful when you're replacing one habit or one activity for another, that you're doing it mindfully and not just replacing with something else equally destructive. So this is where the fourth way of reducing screen time comes in, which is finding alternative activities. It's well known by now that if you get rid of or limit bad habits and you don't have a replacement activity, you will most likely return to bad habits or engage in other bad habits. Now on GameQuitters.com, I have a list of over 60 different ideas for you to replace different activities that will provide more benefits for you. And I hope that you find that tool really useful. For instance, for me, an activity I really love, well, one reason I played video games actually was because of the flow state. And I ended up replacing that with surfing. And surfing is an amazing activity I really love, but now living here in Thailand, it's not as possible for me to surf. And so I've kind of missed that activity putting me into that flow state. But recently I've started going go-karting a lot and racing. I actually had my first race this past weekend, and I found that when I was racing, I was in that flow state as well. And it's just such a good way for me to be able to kind of check out and get a break from the day, but without just mindlessly browsing the internet. All right, so the fifth tip is to take control of your environment. On my phone, I've actually followed the tutorial by Peter McKinnon, who has a great video on this. And I actually got rid of most of the apps on my phone. I got rid of most of the noise. You can install different app or website blockers, and that can help you reduce your time. Stay Free is a great plugin, an app that allows you to limit or block different websites. I've also used Focus.me, and Unhook as a Google Chrome plugin can also help you with that, especially to turn off suggested videos on YouTube. And so just finding different little hacks, different little ways to reduce the exposure to these algorithms that increase your screen time can be helpful. You can also turn your phone on black and white mode, again, reducing the stimulation you get from your phone, and that makes it seem less exciting and your brain doesn't want to go to it as much. And so again, that's just a really effective way to reduce your screen time. Now, finally, you want to set a goal. I know in a healthy way, my average screen time on my phone will be under 3 hours a day. Now, when I noticed it was getting up to 5 hours or 6 hours, that's when I really need to start to look at what's going on there and what do I need to adjust. So for me, understanding where my usage is and where that average screen time is and what's healthy for me is important as a marker to compare week by week or month by month or day by day to understand where I'm at. It's probably not overly surprising to you that when my screen time was 6-7 hours a day, I was also feeling a lot more anxious. I was feeling a lot less happy in my life. And now I've reduced it back down and I'm certainly feeling better. Now, one way you can reset your screen time, one of the most effective ways to reset this pattern in your life is to actually take a dopamine detox. Often when we're so used to so much screen time, our brains are actually used to it and they have a tolerance for it. And that can be really difficult to just reduce slowly over time. And so actually, if you just, cut most of it out cold turkey and take a dopamine detox, that can really help you reset. You can try it for a weekend, try it for a day, try it for 7 days or even 30 days. And I'm certain you'll get a ton of benefits from it. If you want to learn more about why that's so important, check out this video by Andrew Huberman.